This is the value of wrestling, the revolutionary force in wrestling podcasting.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are back on the Big Time. We're going to get into it. It's another time for a Big Time Rants. We're going to talk about Bryan Danielson. Is he really injured? What's the status and all the craziness going on in AEW? And is there other wrestling news? We're going to deep dive into all of it right here on Big Time Rants. Oh, you know, we are back on the Big Time. This is the Value Wrestling. This is Big Time Rants. I thank you for joining me. I thank you for being here. And we are glad to see you joining us, taking time out of your busy day to come in here and listen to me rant on what's going on in the world of professional wrestling. Last night in Montreal, they recorded, taped, whatever you want to call it, Collision. The episode of Collision, which will air on Saturday, is already in the can. And we heard rumors and reports that Bryan Danielson was injured. It looked like Andrade El Idolo went after Bryan Danielson's eye. Andrade El Idolo, the original match between him and Bryan Danielson's, where Bryan Danielson supposedly broke his orbital bone, and it looks like Andrade El Idolo went after his eye. There was a cut above Bryan Danielson's eye. We don't know the whole situation. We're still waiting for more news, but it does work from a lot of sources that this is just part of an injury angle for Bryan Danielson in AEW. He's already injured with the orbital issue, so it's very interesting that they want to have an injury storyline here, but that seems what the status with Bryan Danielson is. He's injured, and we're going to have to wait and see what comes from that. Rumor that maybe Cora JAde is rejoining WWE. Would Cora JAde return? Is she coming up at the next NXT pay-per-view? A lot of speculation, news, and reports and rumors that are going on there with what may or may not happen. We are kind of waiting to see where this will go and how it will play out. But a lot of reports that Cora JAde may be returning finally to NXT after being out of the ring for a while. So we'll have to see what her return plans are for NXT. Karrion Kross due back on SmackDown this week. He is scheduled in a match. We can't wait to see what we're going to get from Karrion Kross. Are we going to see Karrion Kross in a different look? Are we going to get a repackaged Karrion Kross? What are we going to get from Karrion Kross? I know a lot of people are getting ready for what's going to happen on SmackDown. WWE signs legend Ken Shamrock to a contract. Ken Shamrock and WWE coming to some type of agreement. We're going to have to see what goes on. Ken Shamrock possibly be going into the WWE Hall of Fame with names like Bray Wyatt and who I suggest an AJ Lee. With CM Punk back in, let's get AJ Lee in there. I don't know if she wants to get in the ring and do anything, but we could definitely see her go into WWE Hall of Fame. I think those are some big names. Bray Wyatt, Ken Shamrock, and AJ Lee. These would be some great names, some great opportunities for the WWE Hall of Fame. Going forward, we're going to have to wait and see what happens in the new year with that being said. Also in the news, AEW Plus announces subscription price hikes in select regions. It looks like there's going to be a 20% increase in AEW Plus. If you're a subscriber to AEW Plus, be ready for an increase. AEW having a hard time dealing with things, so we will see, and we're going to talk about that momentarily. It looks like Mark Shapiro and WWE have talked. It looks like there's a possibility of cutting a lot of the house shows. It's not bringing in the revenue that it once did. So WWE may be counting back way on house shows. So we're going to have to see. And that's okay. I think most people want to go to the shows and are pulling away from more of the house shows. They'd rather spend the money on the bigger shows. So we will have to see how that goes. AEW is in a tailspin, it seems like. Not the death of AEW, not the end of AEW, but it definitely seems like it continues to get into a viral tailspin more and more as we go forward. The morale reported in AEW seems to be lower than ever. People are upset with Kevin Sullivan, and we're not talking about the Taskmaster Kevin Sullivan. This was a post-production member of the team that had been there since the beginning of AEW. there seems to be some negative morale. There's some negative morale around the fact that people are not being used enough or used properly or don't feel like their storylines. It's the inmates running the asylum, and we've talked about this before, and I know there's critics out there that are saying everybody's criticizing AEW but not giving AEW ways to get out of it, how to fix it. And I think here at the Value Wrestling, we've done our best attempts to give Tony Khan feedback on what some of the best possibilities are to get the roster, to get the company back on track. It's identifying who they're going to be. Are they going to be New Japan in the Americas? Are they going to be sports entertainment? What are they and who are they as a company is going to be the big key. And the other thing is Tony Khan's going to have to grow up and be the boss. He's going to have to decide who needs to be there, who doesn't need to be there, and make decisions instead of pussyfooting around and hiding in the back. And he's got to cut a lot of this roster. I think he needs to sit down and figure out who wants to be there and who doesn't want to be there. If they don't want to be there, let them go. This is not helping your morale. If people are unhappy and unsatisfied with the direction they are going or don't feel they're being used enough, then you need to let them go, or you need to build Ring of Honor and put select people that can help build Ring of Honor, that can get the time and attention they need on Ring of Honor, or you need to start letting people go. If there's people who don't want to be here, let them go. What are they going to do? They're going to go to WWE? They're going to go to TNA? They're going to go to New Japan Pro Wrestling? Tony, what do you care? Right now, you're in a rebuild. You're in a restart. You're trying to revamp, refresh, and I think that's the important key. If you let these people go, wherever they go, let's not worry about compete clauses. Let them go somewhere, earn money, get back on to doing what they want to do and what they love to do, and get the spotlight that they possibly deserve somewhere if you can't give it to them, and focus on the stars you have and who you want to focus on to build up and make your company great. And maybe somewhere in the future you can start bringing people back in. But the shift in the wrestling world has shifted majorly to a whole different direction. Vince McMahon was in charge of WWE, and for a long time WWE was spiraling out of control. Vince McMahon was booking for what he wanted, it seemed like, and not what the fans wanted. We got trolled a lot as fans with WWE. And then AEW came around, and AEW made a huge splash because AEW... Jesus. I hate when I do that. Anyways, AEW was supposed to be the alternative to WWE, and we got that. It was something different. We saw a lot of big names jumping ship because they were going to get the attention and time we thought they deserved on AEW TV. Initially, it was great, but eventually it started falling flat when people were jumping over ship, but not really seeming to be utilized in the direction we thought. Miro, Andrade El Idolo, Malachi Black, some names that we were really hoping to see in a world title picture, in the main event pictures, but they have not really broken through that shell. Some of it is due to injury, and we can't blame anybody but life in that situation, because that is what happens. But AEW morale, it doesn't look good. People are upset, and I think Tony Khan needs to sit down and decide who wants to be there, who doesn't want to be there. If you don't want to be there, let's let them go. Let's get them out of there. Let's move on. Let's get the roster shrunk down to a size that is manageable. Let's just start defining what our titles are. Do we need all these titles in AEW? What are the important titles? What titles, some type of system that makes these titles feel important. And let's give reason to matches other than throwing away matches like we have tonight when Christian Cage takes on Adam Copeland on AEW Dynamite for the TNT title. Now, this is in Montreal. Both these men are from Canada. We understand that. Will this match actually happen? Don't know. We don't know what the swerve job may be. Hopefully this leads to it being on World's End, but is it going to be impactful if we have any type of match? We got to see how this is going to play out. Will Christian Cage even come out to fight Copeland, or will he send his goons out? It's going to be interesting. We can't wait to see how this plays out. A little bit of interest in AEW, but AEW seems to be missing the mark and continues to drop the ball and bringing entertaining, interesting TV. The in-ring work is great, but making the pieces connect together. It's like the Devil storyline. It's been dragged out with no real purpose. It's been hit or miss here. I mean, what happened? We know the Acclaim got jumped, but we haven't seen the Acclaim return to TV when they were on their, this is the 17th day as the champion, so the 30th day, the 69th day. Then they got jumped by the Devils, and they all seem to be gone. And we don't really have any follow-up. Jay White seems to be in this tournament and totally forgotten about the Devil and MJF. There's no follow-through on these storylines, and so it's like, what's the point? And now we have the Devil possibly going after MJF, unless MJF's the Devil and working with the Devil. Is Adam Cole the Devil? Lots of names being thrown out there. Jack Perry's return, is he going to be the Devil? who knows? Hopefully tonight maybe we'll get an opening to a door of understanding who's who in this whole devil gimmick. Is it Wardlow? I think that might be a sad disappointing. Is it Britt Baker? I think there's a lot of names that are just going to be big disappointments that are just kind of fitting into it. We know many years ago WCW did its thing with Sting and the Black Scorpion, and a lot of times it wasn't Ric Flair until the very end. So who's the devil? Who's going to be the devil? It's kind of a wait and see situation and all of that. Hopefully Tony Khan doesn't screw it up and drop the ball and bore people out of it before it's too late. I know there's also a lot of morale. We had Ric Flair's issue this past week. You can go back and forth. Ric Flair back in the day used to be Ric Flair, but he just can't bring what he's bringing to the table in this day and age. And when you get somebody like that on TV who's taking attention, I can understand why the morale in AEW seems to be low. There's a lot of stars, a lot of talent that don't want to get there, that don't feel they're being utilized. A lot of talent that feels they're being underutilized. A lot of talent feeling they don't get the right creative. And the inmates are running the asylum. If they don't like the stories or the creative, they get to say no. There's good and bad in this. Even Chris Jericho has come out and said that everybody should work for some Vince McMahon for about 6 months to understand things. And maybe that's the truth. I don't know. Tony Khan is probably going to have to sit down and start putting people in positions that he can trust that are going to help him get these things done. Tony Khan's going to have to fix things. He's going to have to hold the people accountable. And if that means letting some people go, well, Tony, maybe that's your answer. You've got to let some people go. I think here at the Value Wrestling, we made every attempt to give Tony Khan suggestions on maybe how fixing this roster or what to do. And we don't deny it. We're going to hold everybody accountable. Everybody has their opinion, and you're welcome to share your opinion. Drop it in the comments below, because that's what we like. Just remember to be respectful in those comments. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We are trying to grow, and we are trying to grow to be one of the top contenders in the IWC, and we appreciate your subscription and joining the Value Wrestling family. If you haven't already, make sure you ring that bell for notifications so you will know when new content comes out or whenever we go live, and we'll be live later today. Me and Mr. Clark will be covering Dynamite right here live on the Value Wrestling on YouTube. After Dynamite's over, we will go into detail of what we thought, how it played out. We'll see what Dynamite brings us tonight. But I thank you for joining us. I thank you for taking your time out of your day to sit here and listen to me ramble. This is some of the news going down right now. Can AEW be fixed? Yes, it's just going to take Tony Khan getting structured and making the appropriate steps. But, as I always say, until next time, we will see you on the next one. Thank you for being here. Hit that like button, and we will get out of here.